We are back for another mini episode of Comics Conspiracy. I am GM Paul, and I'm here with our panel of experts. Of course, you're looking at the mad artistic skills of Duke. You want to say anything, Duke, to the people at home?
Go Power Rangers. Yeah.
He dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Sadly.
Okay. Sad. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. But yeah, he gone. But your mad skills still remain. All right. Is this a commission you're working on?
It's for my Whatnot show. I have themed shows every week, so this week is going to be Power Rangers. So I figure might as well do the Green Ranger because he seems to be everybody's favorite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't know much about them.
Right.
Really?
We also have returning camera Chris. What's going on, Chris?
Let's see if this still works. Nice.
Magic.
All right.
It's just magic. It's magic. It's voodoo. I don't even know what that's about. All right.
Nothing.
All right. And then we have late, but always
Great.
appreciated. We got the human ramp. What's going on?
Not much. Ready to hammer down and bang out some content this week.
Yeah. But how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Better. I still haven't shaken the cough, which is weird, but a lot better than last week. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing.
You sound
Good
better.
stuff. All right. Well, we're going to be continuing to watch Duke's Mad Skills with the Power Rangers, and we're going to talk about some things. Let's bring up our topic today. Marvel death, and it's not what you think. It's we're not going to be talking about the actual death of Marvel itself. We're talking about death in Marvel.
7 million opening weekend.
Yep, there's those crickets. That awkward silence.
47 million.
So are we talking about the death of Marvel as a business, the death of Marvel movies, or death within the Marvel universe?
Death of characters.
Death of Marvel characters in the comic books. I stand away from the movies. Let's stay away from the movies. But it is a very interesting point to make.
It's like everyone heard you say that in advance because they are staying away from the movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Brutal. But it's but yeah, it's a sign of changing times, I think. So we'll see. But nonetheless,
damn white men.
Harmon is
yeah, look at me. I'm gonna be the worst kind of white devil. All right. What about you, Jordan? You gonna be a white devil?
No, I am going to race and gender swap myself. I think.
You gotta talk in your mic, man. I can't hear you.
I think it's time for myself to swap and become a diverse black woman. I think it's time. I've heard the writing on the wall, and it's going to be a good time.
Well, Jordan bent the knee. All right, we're going to move on. So let's talk about it. There's one of the things that, and I know Jordan and I have talked about this, and maybe Chris, you've talked about it with Jordan as well, and you guys' own conversation.
I've talked about everything.
Fair. But this is something that Jordan and I have specifically talked about. Why there's this urge, this need to kill characters, then bring them back, then kill them again. Now, and I'm not talking about a situation in the same issue or in the same miniseries or something like that. I'm talking about there's a dramatic industry-shaking event where a character dies. And it's gotten to a point, and it's so cliche now, everyone's just waiting for the shoe to drop when you're bringing them back. Just get it done with already. Now, we've all read comic books where a character dies, and then in the same comic book, it's proven not true, or somehow they come back. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this, this gut-wrenching, thing where a character dies, and it has a huge effect on the community, the culture, and the industry, and then it's all for naught, and it's over and over again, rinse, repeat. And I don't know why they even still try at this point. So what do you guys think?
Well, let's go to our black correspondent first.
Obviously, you're talking about me, right? So,
Yes, diversity is our strength. Go ahead, madam.
it is our strength. And thank you for calling me ma'am. I appreciate that. Now we can move forward. Obviously, the exceptions are the Uncle Bens and the Gwen Stacy's, and once they died, you can't really touch them.
Hold on,
Turn off your compression.
I
Yeah,
disagree.
your mic hates you today.
Frig. Okay.
Also, another thing
Somebody
before
else
you go
talk.
on,
Let me fix some stuff up.
before you go on, Jordan, and in any capacity, Dave says that all your examples are NPCs; they don't count,
Yes.
Amazing.
and we can't hear you at all now. Is that a blessing? I don't know.
It's a curse. It's my blessing. It's my great
So
power.
do you have voice isolation or any type of effect on that is concentrating on your voice?
No, that's
I know
the
you
weird
shouldn't,
thing.
but that's what it sounds
Wow.
like.
Well, you're
Let's
fixing
get
that.
rid of that. How's that?
Go, Duke! Knock it out of the park. We're done.
All
We're done with our black correspondent. Hit it.
Jordana's had her time.
He
Yep.
started with, Uncle Ben and stuff. But you know what? They've recently brought Uncle Ben back. So that's not really true. They have multiple different versions of Gwen. That's not true, Like, even though it's not the 616 version, they're still bringing the same character back, So why can't they stick with someone being dead? Like Captain Marvel. They killed him off with cancer, first graphic novel. He's been dead. There's been some kind of like little things here and there, but he's still dead, right? Like, why can't they keep a character dead? Is it just the triumphant return or something that they're banking money on? But when they do it so often, it really loses its power. Like, how many times has Wolverine died now? I think he's dead even right now again, So, like, what is the point of it? If they can't keep that continuity going.
Simplest answer: lazy writing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, keep in mind, I don't care about recent comics. So if you're talking about anything from the last 20 years, I don't give one. Not a single one. So, but this is just an ongoing thing. This would happen way before 20 years, the last 20 years of comics. So
Phoenix.
I want to keep talking about it. Okay, so we got her back. Let's hear it. Come on, from our black correspondent.
Live on the scene. So you brought you said that Uncle Ben's back. I know we're not touching on that. I think that's BS. And then the Gwen thing. It's not the 616. It's different stories. It's Elseworlds, which again, I know Paul hates Elseworlds.
And your microphone sucks.
Why? All the games look good,
dude. How you paid like almost $300 for that thing too?
Well, yeah.
It's not the mic; it's the settings. I guarantee you.
Absolutely. I don't know what is going on.
Does your mic have COVID?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. I will unclick everything. I will unclick it all. How's this?
Much better.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, here we go. I will unclick everything. So yeah, it's definitely the settings. Me screwing around, trying to Howard Stern myself, lower, bring up that bass. Okay, so why do they do it? Simplest answer is lazy writing. Also, it's money. They saw how it worked in the 90s for the other guy over at the other company, when they killed him off. And they're like, oh my God.
Who, Jesus?
Well, essentially DC's Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Superman, right?
What did I tell you about leaving him alone?
Don't bring him into this.
Yep.
Don't bring him into this. But it's hard to talk about comic death without bringing him up because, like,
I know it was so huge. I know
it was huge, right? He wasn't selling, so you know what? Kill him off.
And it made massive headlines to even the normies around the world.
Correct, right? It became pop culture, and the book started selling. And now it's like, okay, well, now that he's popular again, let's bring him back because people actually do like him and care about him. And
And their other versions bloody blue. They blew.
well, yeah, well, of course, right? Well, they're not him. But the point
Yeah, but we
was
got
is-
that fantastic Shaquille O'Neal Steel movie out of it.
it
Oh
was
God, yeah. I forgot
so
about
good.
that
So good.
rubbish.
It made money, so they brought him back, and that's rinse repeat, right? That's keep doing it over and over and over again because they're hoping that when you kill someone off, it's going to make headlines, the book's going to sell, and then they can bring him back and repeat the process all over again. Chris is right. It's lazy, but it's also a money thing at the end of the day.
So it's checking off both boxes.
It really is. It really is, and it sucks because when you have a death of a popular character, it should hold some weight, right? Unfortunately, when you're reading it, oh man, they just killed character X.
Kenny.
Oh my god, they just killed Kenny. You bastards. We know as a reader, because it's been done endlessly so many times. Okay, well, I guess I'll skip the next 6 issues until they come back because I don't care, right? This is all pointless. It has no ties to anything long term, you know. Now, I think the other thing is should they be even killing off characters in comics? And I wrestle with that. Because if they can age these characters for, some of them are upwards to 70, 80 years. If they're going to age them, why can't they kill them and actually make it mean something? Because if you're going to do it, you do it right. You make it have weight in the Marvel Universe. Short answer, no, they shouldn't kill off these characters. But if they're gonna do it and if they feel like they need to do it, let the story move forward. Don't bring them back because it cancels out all those emotions and feelings that you had while reading the book in the first place.
Okay. Chris, what do you think besides lazy writing?
Well, lazy writing is at the core of every aspect around this because lazy writing, because they want to make money and they don't want to put the time and investment into developing a character that they can kill off. They want the iconic characters to be the draw of will they, won't they, and oh my God, we're going to kill him, and Death of Spider-Man as a headline. But the problem is if they just were creative enough to come up with other characters that they could kill off. And I don't mean red shirts in a Star Trek episode where you never saw this ensign before and all of a sudden they're on an away mission and there's one red shirt that you've never seen in an episode. You know that guy's going to die. Whereas if they invested and they brought a character in for a few episodes and developed the character, then not only is it giving you that draw of a more main character, a more developed character, you're getting the investment of you know who this character is, you're involved with them, you're understanding them. They are attached to the audience, not maybe as much as Kirk was, but you're not going to kill off the main character. And so when they get to trying to kill off the main character, I have a very simple question. And we'd probably have to look this up, but I think I know the answer. Has there ever been a main character like Spider-Man or the Red and Blue Jesus? Has there ever been a main character that they've killed off that was killed off by the person that actually created the character? Was Ditko involved with killing off Spider-Man in the Death of Spider-Man? Was Siegel involved with killing off? So what I'm getting at is you've got a bunch of lazy writers on the payroll that aren't up to snuff of creating iconic characters, and they want to put their mark on something and get attention to their name, their brand. So therefore, their only thing is, I'm going to take this character that everybody loves and put him in jeopardy. And they know inherently the company is not going to do this long term. They know that they're not going to stand with losing even a small character, because they bring back even small characters or NPCs or, driver characters like Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben is a driver character in that it prompted Spider-Man to become Spider-Man. So they've even brought him back when his entire purpose was that he died. That was the purpose of the character. And so these lazy writers get their mitts on intellectual properties that have lasted now for generations, and they don't have anything that they can contribute. Say what you want about Rob Liefeld, he at least created some new characters. He brought in new characters that are still lasting to this day and seeing ultimate success. If you look at people like Deadpool and whatever, and Deadpool, yes, is just a derivative ripoff of an amalgamation of a few characters, as we've talked about before. But he's still around, he's still successful, and now he's in the mainstream. People know his name because of the success of these movies and the people involved in making the movies. And they can't kill him off because they made the character unkillable. But my point was more that you've got Rob Liefeld, who, for all intents and purposes, is one of the most laughable artists to ever see success. And yet he created a fistful of lasting characters. And then you've got other people who can't come in and create secondary and tertiary characters. So what they do is they get their mitts on it and they destroy that which was built up by many more better before them.
Absolutely.
That's well said. And thought provoking. That makes a lot of sense.
For me, it's painting yourself into corners and stuff like that. Jordan and I have talked about this, and it's a situation where characters are story. So one thing that they do in the movies a lot is they kill off the villain in the first movie he appears in. It happens a lot. Maybe not so much now, but it happened a whole hell of a lot when comic book movies were just starting to really make a splash. And I never understood it, and I still don't understand it for comic books. If you still have any ideas that you want to ever use for this character, don't kill them. Or at least make it mysterious. Make it nebulous. Make it a situation. Could he be dead? He might not be dead. All that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? There's ways to do it. But when you make it so blatant, like somebody is dead and sent to a morgue, or somebody has their head chopped off, or, you know what I mean? Things like that. When you make it so very, very concrete, and then you try to bring them back, you're gutting your own title's integrity, your company's integrity. So if these characters have value long term, don't kill them. Just simply don't kill them. There's a whole other ways you can do things. I was just reading an old comic book, The Fantastic Four, and Dr. Doom ends up getting thrown into the deep reaches of space. There's a great way. Like, how is he going to come back? We don't know, but he's not dead. Do you know what I mean? He's just not dead. And so it leaves that open. Leave yourself an opening. Be creative in that way with these, and I'm going to put in air quotes, demises. Be interesting with them. Be creative with them, and leave doors open for yourself. Don't paint yourself into a corner. But I think they're so ravenous to destroy what has come before, and then make these terrible, terrible stories and characters on top of that. Like Chris was alluding to, in a way, like they're so ravenous to tear down everything that we love, and to then put these horrible aspects on top of it. And I don't want to get too political about it, but I'm just saying it just seems to be the way it's going. And the people that should be responsible for the money for these companies and stuff like that are letting them do it. And you know what? So be it. If they're going to kill something that I love, I'm not going back to somebody that hates me. That's just no sense. So, but as a writer, guys, definitely don't ever paint yourself into a corner. Always give yourselves outs. And when they kill characters off, they paint themselves into a corner, and then they've got to do something silly to get themselves out of it that completely ruins the integrity of the story, character, the title, the company. That's my point.
Well, and integrity is the key, right? So I'm not sure. Have any of you read the actual novel First Blood that the movie First Blood was based on?
No.
No.
So I read it in elementary school for a book report. And in the book, John Rambo dies in the end. And what's even more interesting is Troutman is the one. Troutman is somebody else. Troutman is the one to kill him. And he says, I made him, he's my problem. And he ends up going into the town that Rambo's wreaking havoc on. And he ends up, as I recall, the description is Rambo's like crawling through these brambles, like thorny bushes and stuff. And he ends up popping his head up at one point to check and see if the coast is clear. And he said, and I forget how it's been years, but they describe it as, and then he just sees a white flash. And it was Troutman took a shotgun and blew his head off. So now the reason I bring this up is in the original casting, and I don't know how far along the process they got, Troutman was supposed to be portrayed by Kirk Douglas. And Kirk Douglas said, if you're not killing off Rambo like in the story, I don't want any part of it. And again, this might be Hollywood fable, but this is how I've heard it over the years. And the point is he had the integrity enough to say, this is a great story as it was. You guys want to Hollywoodize it. And I mean, he's a part of the Hollywood machine for decades and decades. So, but held on to whatever he considered integrity of the fundamentals of storytelling. And he felt that the better story and the more believable and logical story conclusion to a guy militarily trained and ripping apart a small town, the more logical conclusion was this guy had to die. So they didn't, and obviously it went on to multiple, and now we're coming up on version 6 of the sequels, because I believe they're making a 6th, I've heard.
Wow.
And the first one was 1981. So we're dealing with 42 years later currently, and still hammering out moneymakers of this character that had they killed him wouldn't have happened. Or maybe they would have marveled it and found a way to bring him back and still, and with prequels and all this kind of crap, even though people are aged beyond what the original story was, they still find ways to make prequels. But the point is if there's money to be made, it's easier to draw on characters that are tried, tested, and true than it is to create new characters and create a new audience for that character. People are more apt to reach for an Iron Man comic that they recognize, Iron Man, than to reach for new guy.
Yeah.
And invest the time into new guy and see where they're going to go with that.
Yeah, somebody like Marvel Boy or something.
Yeah, or ISOM.
Sorry, did you have something to say there, Paul?
Marvel Boy, don't.
But so my point ultimately is it does come down to integrity versus the bottom line. Mm-hmm. Integrity is going to lose every time.
Yeah, but long term, integrity makes you more. Long term, it does. But it's always quick cash. It's always a quick cash grab. Yeah,
for sure. And the majority of people, especially in business, do not care about the long term. They care about the immediate. Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush is almost absent of the collective NGO mindset.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to do last thoughts on this one. I think Chris has just given his, but Jordan, you got anything else you want to say on behalf of the community you represent?
Well, he checks off so many diverse boxes. So,
So
which
many
community are you
boxes.
currently representing?
Well,
Well,
what's-
you
today
look. He's
is
got
a
he's got a flag.
Tuesday.
It represents all of it. He's got a flag. He can put it up.
I got
Go on.
I got the best flags.
right.
Not really. Like I said my piece and why they do it. Should they do it? No. But if you're gonna kill someone, keep them dead, because at the end of the day, but I want to go back to what Chris said, and I've been while we've been talking, I've been trying to find an original creator / writer that has killed off their own IP. I can't find it. I thought I had it with Green Goblin, but no, Stan Lee didn't even write that comic when they killed Green Goblin or Gwen Stacy or Captain Stacy.
Nope.
So, I mean, I thought I had it. No, I don't. I cannot find a creator that is a harbinger of death for their own characters, which is amazing that that has not happened yet. And
Well, in Marvel, right? I'm sure there's plenty of independents that have done that.
probably
Perhaps,
many
yeah.
independents, but yeah,
Well, look at the Crow. The Crow's a good example. Yeah, he okay there. Whatever. But moving on. Yeah.
right.
We're staying with it. We're staying within Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah. Not one. I cannot find one. Obviously, Uncle Beth, Uncle Ben.
Uncle Beth?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say
You're
Uncle
diverse
Death,
all over the place today.
right? Uncle Beth. He's he.
Jeez.
Let's
Why is he not booted
worry about
yet?
him.
That is a hilarious Freudian slip.
Right? Uncle Death, Uncle Ben. So other than him, but he's what Chris was saying, he's a driver. The point of that character's creation was to push Spider-Man, Peter Parker, into becoming who he is today. So yeah, but an actual long-time character that stands, the creators did not kill any of them. We can use Phoenix. I'll give them Phoenix. You know why? Because the whole point of the Phoenix is to die and be reborn. I will give them that. That's the point of the Phoenix. That's right.
Right.
To interject, which could be the reason why they labeled the power of the Phoenix, because the whole point of the biblical Phoenix rising from the ashes, and they could have entitled that cosmic power, that cosmic entity that infects individuals. They could have named it anything,
Right.
but that's, to your point, that's why it is that, because it's a resurrection theme.
Yeah. And looking back, it actually makes sense, right? Does it lose weight? Yeah, I guess. But in the title, it tells us that she's not going away, right? She is coming back because she was called the Phoenix. So, I mean, I can give them that, but I'm grasping at straws because for the sake to try and find reasons to kill them off, who killed them off, and I can't find it without diving really deep and like when they killed Cap,
Oh,
right? And it was
No.
Sharon Carter of all people, like a Shield agent killed him. Come on, like
Has
talk
Craven
about
stayed dead? Like I think
Sorry,
it's just kids.
a female
right?
shield agent.
yeah. Well, she's my
Girl
sister.
power.
She's my sister. Yeah.
But Craven stayed dead, hasn't he? Like I think it's just been like his progeny that has taken up the mantle. You know?
or his girlfriend.
Yeah. Or
That's
daughter
fair.
or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna assume that they've screwed that up at this point as well. Because there's
I'm
nothing
not
that
current.
they. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. If you ask me to bet on it, I bet they've screwed Craven up. So
Is
even his death,
Doc Ock back? I actually
know.
don't know that question.
I don't know. All right, Dave, you got anything you want to throw in before we call it?
Well, I mean, besides discussing it all, I mean, is there a character that has died that should have stayed dead that would have been better overall? You know? Like
Don't kill him in the first place.
But I mean, is there a character that should stay dead that would have made it better, and if they never brought them back, like say they killed off Scarlet Witch after she killed all the mutants or erased all the mutants, would have been stronger and better if she never ever came back, like, or is it better that they just never did it in the first place? I'm trying to say,
creative answer would be yes, keep her dead. The logical answer and the business answer is no, they need to bring her back because they have a serious lack of interesting female characters, to which she is mildly interesting and somewhat female.
So they should never kill her, in a sense, right? They should never.
It's hard to say never, because these
It's not
characters,
guys, death doesn't have to be a demise, right? Like I said, I gave you the example of Doom being ushered out into the far reaches of space with no plausible way at that point of returning.
Mm-hmm.
But you leave the door open. You don't do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have her absorbed into the Necran crystal or something like that. I don't know. And then it makes it so there's maybe somehow somebody can get her out of the crystal, right? But don't show her, beheaded and stuff like that, and then with her body in a morgue with a bunch of doctors around saying, well, she dead. Like, don't do something like that. You know what I mean?
Just move.
Yeah. Like,
what was remember in the TSR version of the Marvel role-playing game, and the villains had an ability. Like, the heroes had karma, the villains had something else, and it was
they had karma too. They had karma too, but they had to spend it in a different way.
Right, and one of those things that they could spend it on, they could it's like a fake death, right? That was one of the great things about that game. It gave an actual plausibility to.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah. Like, one of their special abilities, like, I'm going to spend my 900 karma points and come back to life later. In a sense. And create a storyline. Why?
Is that it?
No, this is the new one.
That's the new one.
Yep.
That's the new one. That's cool.
Well, we'll talk about it maybe in another episode. All right. So I think we all agree that death should be handled with integrity, and it should be done with a certain craft to it, and not just willy-nilly like an automatic machine gun, just spraying and praying kind of thing. And I think that we if we're going to have one of our characters die, it's got to mean something because we've invested, right?
Yeah.
And comic books, by their very nature, want their customers to invest. They don't want you just buying a single comic book. They want you buying hundreds or thousands of comic books. So with that kind of investment comes a certain level of responsibility, I think, from the creators. And I think that should be, if they're going to kill off a character, they have to do it responsibly with integrity. And that's my final word on it.
I agree.
So, all right, guys, this has been another amazing episode with some great topic, with a great topic. But let's go through some plugs. Jordan, you got anything you want to say to the people at home? People of your diverse communities?
My people, join me on Paramount Plus. You'll be... No, I got no plugs. I'm not an entrepreneur. I work for the man, so yeah.
All right. What about you, Camera Chris?
Well, as usual, I am a cameraman, both in film, video, photography, and 3D modeling and animation, and we do full production on all of the aforementioned. You can find me at www.timecodeproductions.com. Amazing.
All right, and those links are down below on the ticker. You guys can just go and creep show anybody that you want. How about you, Duke? You got anything you want to say about your art and where people can find it, and maybe get a commission if you can ever find time, get a time machine to do it?
Yeah, right. Get in line if you want a commission. Sorry, I have over 100. So yeah, it's a 1.5 year wait list probably at this point.
Jeez.
But yeah, no. All I gotta say is make sure you guys comment and ask, because I really want you guys to actually comment and give me ideas of what you want me to draw during the show, because I think that's really important. And once we start getting a following, if we see something like that, then I will definitely make an effort to actually draw something during the show that you guys are interested in.
Amazing. And guys, that's Pinterest.ca Duke Comic Art. All right, Duke Comic Art, and you guys can find me at on X at Grounds of Battle. Okay, so there's anything else you guys want to say before we go?
Nope, I'm good.
Cricket. All right, guys, please remember, at home, comment. Let us know what you think about the death of characters in comic books. If they here comes magic. If they matter, if it doesn't matter. Let us know what we got right. Let us know what we got wrong. And we will see you next time on Comics Conspiracy.